Hey guys, Dylan here. I'm here to bring you a really basic Blender tutorial. There are already some really good Blender tutorials out there, and I highly recommend them as well. If you go to BlenderGuru.com, Andrew Price has some really good tutorials there. I learned a lot of my stuff from him. But a lot of you guys have been asking me to make a Blender tutorial of my own. So here I am. Honestly, I haven't really been playing with Blender for very long. I started in December of 2011, so not even a year. But I will show you what I know, just for the sake of you guys, because you guys have been asking. So hopefully this tutorial is helpful. It's just kind of for the absolute beginner, people who have no idea what they're doing, no idea what to do once they open this file here, and all they see is a cube, a lamp, and a camera. Well, we're going to go ahead and start with this file real quick, and I'm going to show you the basic controls. If you've noticed already, I've been moving around quite freely. The controls I've been using is middle mouse button to drag, and that drags around a focal point. Usually it's the center by default. Notice I've also been panning a lot. This pan is just doing the same thing with middle mouse, except you hold shift at the same time, and that allows you to pan. And overall, just the shift and the middle mouse button let you move pretty much anywhere, and you can also zoom in and out with the scroll button as well. So yeah, those are just some basic controls. Some more navigation things are you right click to select things. It's very important. It's not left click. I don't know why they do that, but it's right click. If you right click something, it'll select it. If you left click, you'll notice you'll have this little cursor, this little red little target thing going around. That's called the cursor. And basically you can use this cursor to do several different things. Honestly, it's not that important at the moment. You can deal without it, but it is really useful in certain things that you can do with it. But you don't have to worry about it for now. But yeah, so let's see what else. If you have a number pad, that's very important. Number pad is for navigation. If you press the period key on a number pad, it focuses on the selected item that you have, which is great because it also changes the focal point for your middle mouse button to that object. So you can focus on things a lot better that way as well. So there's that, and there's also 0 on the number pad is the camera view, which is also very handy. I use it all the time. You may have seen me do it earlier on in this tutorial for fun. Camera view is also very important. And another thing, this is kind of a general thing, is if you hit 5 on the number pad, it gives you what's called an orthographical view. So as you can see, depth perception is completely distorted now. If you notice, this is actually the closer plane, the closer side of the plane of the grid, and that's actually the farther side. And you notice it doesn't really look like that. Basically what it does is it makes it so that if you look from the side at something, you'll actually see all of it as it is, as opposed to having some of it hidden because the other side's smaller. It gets rid of the annoyingness, I should say, of depth perception. I sometimes work with this, sometimes I don't. It really varies on what I do. A lot of people like to work in orthographical, as I've seen online, just to get things to look a lot better. I personally like working with this, especially for animation, to get things a little bit more accurate as to how they're going to be rendered, because you are going to render in normal, normal view, not orthographical view. So it depends on your taste, but that is there for you, and it's also very helpful when you combine it with wireframe. Wireframe is when you press the Z button, and you can pretty much see through any object. All you see are the wires, as you can see with this cube here. If you hit 5, then you'll notice a lot of things can be done a lot easier. You can see through objects, and you can see that they match up really nicely, as if it was two-dimensional. So that's really great. Wireframe is really helpful. And yeah, just to get you guys into the swing of things, I'm just going to do a really short project with you guys. Basically, we're going to be building a super simple object just with Blender, with what's called edit mode, and I'll show you everything in a bit. But just doing these things, doing a small project, and doing the actions required to make this small project, I find is the best way to learn. So that's just what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a few easy peasy models with you guys. So if you want to follow along, you can. If you haven't downloaded Blender already, it's in the description below. Blender.org/downloads, I believe it is, or if not, just it's in the description. Just click on the link. But yeah, it is free. It is open source. So go ahead and try it if you haven't already. But yeah, so once you have Blender open and you have it here, go ahead and select the cube by right clicking, and then we're going to press the tab button, which brings it into edit mode, which is this is the first time I've mentioned this. Edit mode is basically where you can select the vertices and edit the mesh however you want. In other words, you can drag it and stuff. Here's some more controls for you. After you select something, you can press either G for grab and move it around, S for scale. I can't scale a single point. S for scale, and then move that around with your mouse, and then and you right click to undo anything that you might have wanted, and you left click to confirm. I just controlled Z there to undo that. But if you press something like scale or something, and you realize, oh, I don't want to scale it anymore, just right click and you'll get right out of that. You can also press R for rotation, and those are the basic three transformation controls. So G, S, and R are really handy. And another thing you can do with R is you can hit R and then you can hit R again, which gives you a free rotation, which looks a lot better in my opinion. It's a lot easier to move around, but you don't really have to know that for now. You can deal with R, but if you wanted to, you could also use RR, and that gives you a little bit more freedom, a little bit more control. Anyway, so we're gonna go ahead and select these. The way I'm selecting multiple points is I'm holding Shift and I'm right clicking multiple points, and that allows you to select several different ones at the same time. And what we're going to do is, what did I say? We're going to make a cup. Yeah, we're going to make a cup. Cups are really easy, and you might be like, oh, Dylan, a cup, that's, why am I making a cup for? Well, I'm going to make a little bit more of an advanced cup, nothing too simple, but something that I think you guys will all learn from. It's really easy, really, really easy. So if you just follow what I do, I think you'll be fine, and you'll be learning a lot of different controls while we do this. So if you have trouble following me, feel free to pause the video and watch it again or something like that, or anything like that. Really, I'm just here to help you guys. So hey, the first cup I made, I didn't really like it. It looked kind of like crap, and I feel like you guys would prefer to make something that actually looks good. So let's get started with this much better cup than the one that you have not seen and probably will never see. So here we go. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete this cube, and I'm going to add a circle. The way you add meshes is actually you go ahead and you can either go to File, or sorry, you can go to Add, and then you have this little drop-down menu here, and you can go to Mesh and then select here. I usually like to use the shortcut Shift A, which brings up the same menu just wherever your mouse was. So it's a lot more convenient in my opinion. But yeah, just go under Mesh and then go ahead and select Circle. And now we have a circle. Beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and take this circle. I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode, just like it was for the cube. As you can see, it actually does not have a face right now. So what you can do is press F, and that'll give you a face for the bottom of your cup. This will be the bottom of your cup, as you will soon see. But yeah, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tool that is really helpful and really versatile. It's called Extrude. The way you do that is you go ahead and press E, and you'll see this little axis here that pops up by default, which is usually the axis that's the normal of the face. So it goes away from the face. So we're going to go ahead and use that axis for now because it's the one that we want to use. I'm going to go ahead and come up here. I'm going to choose a height for my cup. By the way, I left clicked there out of Extrude to confirm the position. If you guys happen to, let me go ahead and show you what a lot of you guys might run into, because I know I did, and it's really annoying. But basically, if you extrude and then you right click, usually what happens is you're like, okay, I just undid the extrude, I didn't extrude, nothing's gonna happen, I'm gonna go ahead and extrude again. Well, okay, that's fine and dandy. But actually, what happens is, whenever you right click out of extrude, you don't undo the extrude. The extrude still happens, but the original plane that you copied is still there, so it just returns to the original position, so you can't see it anymore, but it is still there. And that's usually for, we're actually going to use this function, this part of the function later on, but it is really annoying to deal with if you don't know that happens. So I usually would undo after you right click from an extrude, just to make sure that you don't have double vertices everywhere that are completely unnecessary and hard to work with. So we're going to go ahead and extrude from here, as many of you have already done. Oops. And then what I'm going to do is after I left click the general direction, I can actually edit it a little, adjust it a little bit more by pressing G and then pressing Z to move along the Z axis, and that's really nice. You can also do this with the X axis and the Y axis, and also for scaling, you can also scale along the Y axis or scale along the X axis. For this, I can't scale along the Z axis because it's flat, but you can do that for all of them as well. So just so you know, that's a good thing to know for precise movement. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust a good height for my cup. I'm gonna say, ooh, should be around that tall. And then once you get a good height for your cup, you're gonna go ahead and press S to scale the top a little bit outward, because we all know cups are bigger at the top. So now we have this kind of cup-like shape. I'm actually gonna make mine a little bit taller. So the next thing we're gonna do is this thing, exactly what I was telling you to avoid earlier, is the extrude right-click tool thing that you can do, whatever. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Press E. I'm gonna right-click so that it's in the exact same position as you notice. I'm gonna right-click, and then I'm gonna press S so I can scale inwards. And notice how the faces are still connected from the original loop around the cup. And then I'm gonna left-click to get a good, lip. This is gonna be the lip of the cup, by the way. Get a good thickness for the cup. I can actually make it a little bit smaller, and then I'm gonna extrude and then move it downwards so we can go into the cup. Notice how it goes outside of the cup. That's because the top is bigger than the bottom, so you can just go ahead and scale that inwards within the cup. And you can actually press Z and go into wireframe mode to look at exactly where you're bringing that. Now, a lot of glasses, I should say, do have the little space at the bottom there, and you can emulate that if you want, or you can bring it all the way down. It's up to you. Let's put it. I'm gonna put mine right around there, because that feels good. That just feels natural. Again, 3D is 3D art is art, and art is not in any way objective. So you can make it however you want it to look like, but this is just kind of how I want my cup to look like. So that's a basic cup, and you're like, well, Dylan, that's not an advanced cup at all. Well, it's not. So we're gonna go ahead and make it a little bit more advanced. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a subdivision tool that I really like. It's really helpful for a lot of things. Basically, you press Control R, and it brings up this purple ring here. This basically can cut any face with an edge in half. You can select any face and then bring it over, and you basically left click to make this edge appear, and then you can actually move it around after the fact. So you can adjust and then left click again, and then that gives you a nice edge in the middle of something. But I don't want it there. I'm gonna go ahead. Actually, another thing you can do is you can scroll to make multiple rings that are evenly divided. So if you wanted to do that, you could as well, but I'm not gonna do that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one individual ring, and then I'm gonna move it up to around here, and then I'm gonna make another one. Control R and left click, and then bring it up, and then left click, and I'll make another one and bring it up, and then left click, and make another one, bring it up, and then left click. I think that's about good. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna right click here so it stays in the middle. I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna right click, same thing here. I'm gonna right click. Now what I'm making is actually kind of like a plastic red cup type of deal. Really easy, really simple, but it will look nice afterwards, after the fact. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to add another ring at the bottom, about equidistant from the others. And I'm going to go and select these rings. Notice how I select these rings. You might be wondering how I did that. What I did there was I held, instead of just right-clicking something, I held Alt, and then I right-clicked an edge here, and that will select all the connected vertices along that edge. You can do the same thing with vertical edges here. As you can see, select all the vertical edges there, and you can do that for every ring. And then what I did is I Shift Alt clicked these so I can Alt click multiple rings, which is the same concept as shift clicking multiple points and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to scale these inwards just a little bit to give you that ribbed look. See, that kind of ribbed look for plastic cups and such. Now this works technically, but what you also could do is, if you wanted to be a little bit more accurate, you could press S and then press Shift Z. And I told you earlier that you could scale along different axes. Well, what else you could do is not scale along different axes, I should say. If you hold shift before the axis that you choose, then it will exclude that one and then scale along all the others. So I'm actually going to exclude the Z axis and only scale along the X and Y axes. And this will help you in a lot of different things. And particularly for this case, it will help me scale these ribs inwards only instead of also upwards or inwards from the middle. Anyway, it's really subtle, but it'll help for this case. For different cases, it'll be a lot more prominent. But yeah. So I just made a ribbed cup here. Really easy. It's actually a little shorter than I would have liked. So I can actually fix that by applying the things I just talked about. Shift-Alt-clicking these two rings, and then just G and then Zing it up a little bit. And I could probably also do that for everything here. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. And if I wanted to add another rib here, I could just do that with Control R and then scale it inwards a little bit. I don't have to do the Shift Z thing because I'm only dealing with one, and that automatically doesn't scale on the Z axis. And I could probably add another one just because I feel like it. Move that up a little bit. And then another one because that needs to go inwards compared with the other one. And actually, I think that's a little bit too. Anyway, I'm going to stop nitpicking this. I mean, it's just a cup after all. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this short tutorial. Really basic stuff. This will help you get kind of a head start with using Blender because this is for the absolute beginner, as I said. And I know that when I started using Blender, I was just really confused about what to do, how to use the program, what to make, you know, that kind of stuff. So this should help a lot. I think it will give absolute beginners a good head start on how to use the program itself. There's a lot of features, obviously, that I didn't cover. There's a lot of different, like Blender is a huge program. It's open source and it's great. I love it. But it has a lot of capabilities that I don't even use yet. So I didn't go into those, but this will give you a really good basic kind of jumping point to explore on your own. And you can look at the tutorials I post in the description as well. There's a lot of the ones that I used back when I was first starting. I really like them. I would recommend them. You can look at whatever ones you want. Andrew Price has great tutorials on BlenderGuru.com, as I mentioned already. And there's a few other ones by BlenderCookie and BlenderNerd, I think, is another site that's really good. So the great thing about Blender is there's a good online community teaching this open source program to people, and I love it. It's great. I personally like it better than Maya and 3ds Max, but that's probably because I haven't really used Maya and 3ds Max very much. But yeah, so that's my cup, that's my tutorial, and this is it. If you guys liked this tutorial, please let me know if you have any questions. If you guys didn't like this tutorial and thought that it wasn't adequate, and you know, if you want to improve it in any way, this is one of my first ones. So give me any kind of feedback you want. Leave it in the comments below. I will read every comment. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I really appreciate you guys watching any of my videos, really. So just let me know anything you want me to know in the comments below. And that's about it. So thanks for watching this tutorial, and I hope to see you guys next time.